Hi folks, I just want to kind of talk to you today about planning in general because a lot of us think that we're planning, but we're not really planning. Planning involves, doing something to kind of reach a goal. And just to give you kind of an example, not even kind of inside estate planning and things like that, but just look at like tax planning. A lot of us might call our accountant up and say, hey, we had a really good quarter and I think it's going to be this way the rest of the year, going to be great. Can you give me an idea of what kind of taxes I'm probably going to pay? That isn't planning. That's kind of like projection. It's like, hey, can you tell me what the future is going to be like? But it's not, can you shape the future? Can you make it something different? Can I improve it? Can I change it? That's what planning is kind of about. Tax planning would have been, hey, I know what I'm making now. That's probably going to be the same way for the rest part of the year. Can you tell me some ideas about how I can lower those taxes, how I can do things differently? In estate planning, it's kind of the same thing. If you come to someone and you say, hey, I know I'm going to die someday. How are things going to go? And can you just make sure you give all my stuff to my spouse or give all my stuff to my kids after that? That's not really planning, most of the time, even if we did nothing and we died, that would kind of happen. Or if you just say, hey, make this result, if it's the standard result, that's not really planning. If you were come to say, hey, transfer these things to my kids and make sure that they can't spend it all, that they can't lose it in divorce, things like that, that's planning. The same thing kind of happens with our business when you say, hey, I'm going to retire in 5 to 10 years, but I'd like to sell. Can you tell me what that might look like and what kind of taxes I might pay? I'm going to give it to the children. Some kind of way, it's just going to go there, and then I'm just going to walk away and step away one day. It's not something that's got a goal in mind. We really can't call it a success or not. Kind of what terms is it on? When you say things like, I want to pass things on to my kids, make sure they're taken care of and that they have these values and things, that would be an estate plan that has a goal, and we can go back and do those steps to make that goal happen. We can do steps to make taxes and things come down. We can do steps to make sure that that business transition is successful, because most of our transitions are successful in only one thing: changing ownership. They're not successful in taking care of your employees. They're not successful in taking care of your business. They're not successful in any of those kinds of things. And I would encourage you to make your plans more than just projections. We know life events are going to happen to us, but they're not planning. You might have a buy sell for your business. That's not planning. That is, hey, if this emergency thing happens, this thing that I know will happen someday happens, just move my stuff around. Give my estate, give my wife some money, give my husband some money, and here, take my stuff. That's not a plan. How are you going to be replaced? What's the business going to be affected like? How's it going to work? When you pass away, what's that going to mean to the family? How are we going to provide for some of those things that you would have done and been able to do but can't? That's planning. So I would encourage you really to plan and not just decide, I died, now where's all my stuff go? I'm going to pay taxes, how much? Those kinds of things. Come up with a goal, and you're really going to get to know that you're doing planning of a goal when it doesn't just involve numbers, dollars and cents, and things. When it's involving people, whether it's the key employees, whether it's your spouse, your family, the business itself and surviving, when it's some other kind of result that we're trying to have happen that isn't primarily dollars and cents and having to do with things, that's where that kind of happens. And even if you say, I want to retire, and in order to retire and sell my business, I need a certain amount of money. Well, what are you going to do to make it that valuation? What are you going to do to get that? Because there has to be some things that happen with people there and training and things to do that way. It's just the way that it works. We can't just plan to have a result happen and expect it to be a happy, successful result. We got to plan how we're going to get there, and it's got to be a result that we shape. We know we're going to die. That result's going to happen. We know we're going to sell our business, retire. That's going to happen. We know we're going to pay taxes. That's going to happen. We don't just plan to make that eventuality happen. We plan to shape it in some way, to do some of those things, and to make it a better result, something that we can have a control with, put our mark on. That is when we're planning. That's when we're getting those good, great results. So I would encourage you, when you're planning, to think of it that way, not think of it just as this eventuality is going to happen, and all my dollars and cents, that's where they go. How much am I going to give away? Well, this is what I own. I own life insurance. Okay, sure. All that life insurance money goes here. But what are we going to do with it? What's that meant for? What's going to happen with it? How's that going to affect lives? That's planning. So keep that stuff in mind. And as always, if you have questions about planning or anything like that, let me know, and I'll be glad to kind of give you my thoughts.